Hello students, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to our online class of Islamic studies. We are going to start a new topic from our unit, Faith and Worship, which is Fear of Allah. The objective of this chapter is to inculcate or to give you the idea of the belief that Allah Almighty is the Supreme Master and to stimulate the desire to gain His pleasure. Khashiyat is an Arabic word meaning fear, and Khashiyat Ilahi means to fear Allah. It is, it is essential for all to have the fear of Allah in one's heart and avoid evil and sins because this would displease the Almighty. If one does not have Allah's fear in his heart, one cannot realize what is bad or evil and he will do exactly as he pleases. But if there is a fear of Allah in one's heart, one will always remember that there is a day of accountability and judgment when he will be inquired and accountable for his all deeds. Hadith Nabawi says, if a person sheds a tear, even as small as the head of a fly, and these tears flow down his cheeks, then the Almighty will protect that face from the hellfire. So many questions arise here. Those are, what is fear of Allah? When is the fear of Allah felt? And why do we need to feel the fear of Allah? It is felt when a subject of the Almighty, the Sustainer, recognizes Him as his highest master. In other words, man should strengthen this belief in his mind and heart that Allah is the one and only who runs and sustains this world. All affairs of this world are ruled and commanded by Him alone. The merciful, beneficent Allah is the one who makes the impossible possible, who solves all problems and eases all difficulties. Man is helpless and dependent on Him. All powers and praises are for Him. Man cannot dare to change his judgments and decisions or try to equal Him. When man imagines His mighty grandeur and loftiness, which is His greatness, this awe and fear is born. And he realizes that life and death, gain or loss, respect and disgrace all are given only by Him. When He is pleased by the good deeds of a person, He showers His countless blessings on him. But when His wrath is aroused, He is very severe in His punishment. The Holy Quran says, and be careful of your duty to Allah. Surely Allah is severe in requiting evil. The knowledgeable ones have fear of Allah. The people who fear Allah Almighty are those who have knowledge of His greatness and might. The real knowledge which is obligatory for every Muslim man and woman to gain is the complete awareness of teachings of Islam. As a Muslim gets more and more knowledge of his faith and its teaching, he gets closer and closer to his Lord. His heart and mind are preoccupied with only one thought, which is that no action or deed of his should displease the Almighty. And it is this that stops and prevents him from committing any wicked or evil act. The Holy Quran says, those truly fear Allah who have knowledge among His servants. Fear of Allah is the sign of the true believers. A true believer is one who has the fear of Lord in his heart, and this is revealed by his action, which is aimed at pleasing the Almighty. We can gain an understanding of this from the example that when a person begins to work for someone, his first priority is to find out what pleases his boss and what does not. Once he knows this, his efforts are dedicated to shouldering the responsibility entrusted to him faithfully and to the best of his ability and to please his boss. At the same time, there is a lurking fear in his heart that he might not have done exactly as his boss desired. As a result, he avoids doing anything which might annoy his boss. This is exactly the position of a sincere believer. How the Holy Quran describes a sincere believer. Verily, those who live in awe for fear of their Lord, and those who believe in the signs of their Lord, and those who do not associate with their Lord, and those who dispense their charity with their hearts full of fear because they will return to their Lord. It is these who hasten in every good work and those who are foremost in them. In this context, Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha asked the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam if this referred to those whose heart feared the Almighty and yet they drank wine and were thieves. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, this does not refer to such people, but to those who observe the fast, offer prayer and give sadaqat, yet fear that the acts of obedience may not be acceptable to the Almighty. These are the people who give charity and hasten to do good deeds. These words of the Holy Quran and Hadith Nabwi sallallahu alaihi wasallam prove that it is not a pride of a true believer that he is satisfied and contented by performing good deeds. On the other hand, he worries and fears if they will be accepted by Allah Almighty. This actually is fear of Allah. This is it for today, guys. We will continue this chapter in next class with another form of fear of Allah. I hope you're starting to get the idea of fear of Allah. For your homework, you have to do question number 1 and question number 2 from exercise. Same instructions again, do not dive in to start doing questions. First, do the reading of the chapter, try to understand the questions, and then do the exercise. Question number 1 is, what is the meaning of fear of Allah when it is felt? Question number 2 is, fear and awe of Allah are the signs of a true believer. Prove this with a worldly example. You can find many examples around you. If you do not find any example, talk to your parents, talk to your elders, and try to find it. And yet if you do not find the answer of this question, you can take help from your teachers in class groups. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.